So Ro, I'm going to read you a statement that President Trump wrote about you. So buckle up, okay? So President Trump said this about you, Ro Khanna. The sleazebag radical left congressman from the failed state of California, Ro Khanna, should not be allowed on Fox News unless you have an anchor who is capable of disputing his lies, one after another, and closing down his fake bullcrap narrative. He said a different word than crap, but anyway, he is similar but worse than Hakeem Jeffries, only with a somewhat higher IQ. You got a little bit of a compliment there at the end. So we've got more from the president attacking you, but what's your response to that?
Well, first of all, it's interesting because he never attacked me on Epstein, right? I mean, he never went there on Epstein. Why did this get under his skin? Because I was there in Western Pennsylvania, in Meadsville, in Johnstown. I was in factory towns like Warren, Ohio, and Lordstown, Ohio. And I was saying that Trump, why do we have Chinese steel here? Why have we betrayed the manufacturers here? Why are we losing manufacturing jobs? Why are you more concerned with doing the service of big corporations than you are the workers and forgotten Americans you campaigned on? And the fact that it got under his skin, the fact that this is what he chose to attack me on, fundamentally, in my view, shows the way forward for the Democratic Party, which is we've got to talk about an economics that actually works for working Americans, that actually works for the heartland and the Black South and the aspirational Latino community, that actually is about giving people economic independence and being for Team America. And that if we do that, and if we paint him as beholden to a global elite that is selling out the working class, well, we could win in almost any state in this country. And Trump's reaction shows that. Why is it that this is the issue that got under his skin? And why is he saying that I'm someone? I told you, I'm obviously a racist in some ways in terms of insulting people who are black in terms of their intelligence. But he's basically saying, like, Khanna understands what I've been saying and he's co-opting it. And I don't like it. Well, we're co-opting it with actual substance. We're saying, yeah, these folks have been screwed. Here's what we want to do going forward.
Yeah. So in fact, we're going to show a clip of Ro here and what seems to have gotten Trump agitated in the first place. Let's watch it.
I want to get your thoughts on the China trip, because you're doing this tour across 3 states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan, talking about competition with China. And I want to ask, what do you hope to achieve with that? And how does it relate, if any, to what the president's trying to effort overseas next week?
The president needs to make it clear to China that they should not be opening up manufacturing in the United States, subsidizing it and violating the law. And the final point is that they shouldn't be engaged in subsidies of their industry and dumping. When I was in Cleveland, at the Port of Cleveland, I was horrified to see Chinese steel there. Why aren't we getting that from Cleveland Cliff or an American steel company? John Molinar, who's the chair of the China Committee, and I have worked together. We don't want any Chinese connected cars in the United States. We need to protect American cars. We want to have a steel be American steel, not be importing Chinese steel. And we don't want China playing unfairly. I mean, there's some of these companies that they're setting up in the United States. They're not. They're violating labor laws, and they simply are not competing on a level playing field.
Man, that got all the way under Trump's skin. And I think Ro might be right that it's because he's basically stealing his America First mantle and stealing it how? By actually doing it, saying, let's actually do it. So, Ro, I'm gonna read you one more quote. Man, he was mad at you. He said, the morning he tried on behalf of Democrats to take credit for the steel industry posturing back into the US or pouring back into the US, knowing full well that dumbs virtually destroyed it and I saved it through strong tariffs. Plus, our country was dead during the last administration and now it's hotter than ever before. We can't allow the Democrats to take credit for this. If elected, they will fully destroy our thriving and now very respected nation. Yeah, by the way, it's good that we have a president who's gotten to his 12th birthday and calls Democrats Democrats. But okay, overall, what's your take on this level of vitriol against you?
Well, as you put it, I mean, he knows that this, I have his number, that the way he got to the presidency twice is railing against institutions that had failed and betrayed the working class. He had no real solutions. I mean, he says, all I'm doing is tariffs. Well, you can't build things if you're not going to invest in the factories, if you're not going to invest in the workers. We've never done that as a country. But he had the right diagnosis of the problem. And the Democrats basically were saying everything's going well, and he was saying, no, it's not. And now he sees a Democrat saying, yeah, things aren't going well, but Trump isn't fixing it. He's making it worse. Here's how you actually fix it. By the way, one other just a side note, this is also why you should go on Fox News and make these cases. I mean, I know you may think this is hard to believe, but 90% of my colleagues don't believe we should go on Fox or don't go on Fox. Well, how are you going to appeal to people who voted for Trump if you're not willing to go onto forums which they may be listening? And the fact that you don't get a rise out of Trump if you're just on one of the safer networks shows the need to do things like go on Fox and engage with the other side.
Yeah, in fact, that's what bothered Trump even more. He's not done yet. He's got 2 more insults for you, okay? And it's related to exactly what you said there. He said you could listen to Fox News all day long, absolutely devour, but then when you hear sleaze bags like Congressman Khanna, a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's interesting, in sheep's clothing. I wonder why he thinks that. Lie, 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 and lie again without any pushback or competent rebuttal from an anchor, in this case, Jackie Heinrich. The entire common sense dialogue that has been going on all day at Fox is completely obliterated. He continues, no matter how fair and balanced the day's news at Fox may be, the end result is destroyed by professional liars, conmen, and liberal crooked politicians. This is why MAGA Republicans, who are actually close to 100% of the party, hate Fox, despite the wonderful contributions made by so many of their great anchors and commentators. Hard to win elections like this. He seems to be saying it's hard to win elections if you allow Khanna to actually talk to our voters.
I mean, isn't that the ultimate admission? Basically saying, if you have a guy like Khanna talking about economics and the betrayal of working class Americans and talking about bringing American manufacturing jobs back with real plans, then it is hard for us to win back, win elections. And he's basically telling Democrats what we need to do. Go talk about economics, go talk about the working class, go on Fox. And yet it hasn't broken through. I mean, I hope folks will see that, and you should have 50 Democrats on Fox, on News Nation, on conservative podcasts making our case.
Yeah, and the last thing is, I found it interesting that he's called you a wolf in sheep's clothing. Why would you be in sheep's clothing? You're not a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're on the opposite side. So you're a wolf in wolf's clothing, theoretically, when you look at it from partisan point of view. But I think he meant because you're a true populist. And it was kind of projection, where that old line about how every accusation is a confession. He's the fake populist, the wolf in sheep's clothing. He's projecting that onto you and saying, yes, Roe is a populist, but hey, just trust me because I'm a Republican. I thought that was telling. What'd you think of that?
I agree with you. Look, the guy won 2 elections to become president of the United States. It would be foolish to underestimate the appeal he had. And he's basically saying, this guy, I have to acknowledge he's intelligent because he basically gets that economic populism is what the country needs. But don't believe him because he's not being truthful. Whereas the reality is, I'm exposing Trump as the sham economic populist. But this is the battleground, Jang. Who is the true economic populist? And they're not going to hand it to us. They're not going to come in a silver platter and saying Khanna is the economic populist. We got to fight for that every hour, every day, every week, every month to convince folks that we really have the better economic platform and are the true economic populists, and Trump is a sham. But if we're not on the battlefield and if we're not engaged in that battle, we certainly aren't going to win.
Yeah, no, that was a startling admission by Donald Trump that if you allow left-wing economic populists to talk to our voters, we're done for. He said we can't win elections if you allow that. because he knows left-wing populism is real populism, and fake populism wouldn't stand a chance against it. So thank you for the confession, President Trump. We appreciate it. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.